Hey, Professor Homa here. Welcome to Intro to PowerPoint, and the topic for this part will be reviewing working with master slides in PowerPoint and editing themes so you could customize them to look and work the way you want. First thing I'm going to do is launch PowerPoint. Now, when you first launch PowerPoint, you may see this white slide like this with two placeholders. It's a title slide. One thing I don't see is my ribbon up top. And this is Office 2010. Now if you don't see your ribbon, first thing you could do is go over here to this little arrow and expand the ribbon so you can see the ribbon. Also, another thing I'm going to do, which you may have not done in the past if you work with PowerPoint, but I'm going to ask you to do so that we can work with indents, is click on the View tab. The View tab has a little checkbox for ruler, and we're going to use these rulers when we use indents so we can adjust the alignment. Okay, I'm going to go back now to the Home tab, and I'm going to go to the Design tab. The Design tab shows all these themes. And you've probably used these themes before, and they have a lot of neat looking themes. You could click on this More button down here, and there's more, so make sure that you scroll through these and that you see there's not just one row. And there's ones from Office.com, there's some newer ones, and as you roll your mouse over these, you could kind of preview what they look like. And hopefully they suit the topic that you're discussing. I'm going to just use this angles one for now, and I'm going to click on this, and you can see that all my slides will be based on this angles theme. And what this theme is composed of is the fonts that are built into it as well as the colors. Now you can adjust all of this, and I'm going to show you how to go into master slides and customize the fonts and the colors to be exactly the way you want, and even save a custom theme so you could reuse it, so it's not just the straight angles out of the right out of the box. First thing I'm going to look at here in my title slide is when I highlight this text, or if I just click. Notice that when you click, the text disappears. It just gives you a little preview of what the text is supposed to look like. But as you type now, it'll replace the text that's there in the placeholder. And if I start typing in here, one thing I'll go back to my Home tab, I'll see that it's Franklin Gothic. Now I don't necessarily want to be in Franklin Gothic. It's not really bold. It's also not a real common font, or at least as common as Arial and some of the other fonts that are commonly found on most Windows and Mac machines. So I'm going to change these. Now you could just change them here. You could just highlight and change the font. Same thing with this down here. This is another Franklin Gothic. You could change the font here. But I'm going to show you how to go into Master Slide and change it so that the entire theme updates and uses the same kind of formatting for all your slides. Now to do that, I'm going to go back into View. Now View is where we check the ruler to show the ruler. But I'm going to go over here to what's called Slide Master. And if you click on Slide Master, it'll open up kind of a master layout. And this is where I'm actually going to change the font. I'm going to highlight this font here, and I'm going to go to my Home tab. You could right click and use this mini toolbar, which I'm not really crazy about. So I'm going to use the Home tab after highlighting it. Let me make sure it's highlighted. And I'm going to change this title font to, I'm going to go down to and choose Impact. Starts with an I, and it's a very heavy condensed font. It looks nice as titles. I'll even make the size a little bigger at 36. Now just because it broke 2 lines here, that's only if I use a long line that it'll break 2 lines. Also down here, as long as I change that other one from being Franklin Gothic, I'm going to highlight this, and I'll triple click in there so it highlights everything, and I'll change that to Arial. I don't need to be using Franklin Gothic right now, and Arial looks very similar. Okay, so that's I just changed the fonts for my theme that I'm working on right now. Now the title slide will now have those fonts when I go to type and work in them. Okay, so now to get out of Slide Master, just one thing to note, when I went into Slide Master, there's a tab called Slide Master. You have to close out of here to kind of update what you just did. So I could go to this red X and close out, and now this is based on Slide Master. And I'm going to put in a title here. I'll call it Software Exploration. Okay, and I just put Software Exploration for CSC courses in case I use this for Intro to Computing or our Software Apps class. Okay, now that's just my title slide right now. If I added a new slide, which normally you'd go up here to New Slide, and you'd go to Title and Content, or there's other layouts, but that's typically the one you may use next. Now that's going to come back with this Franklin Gothic type font again. So I'm going to right click and delete this. I'll do delete slide, and I'm going to go back into View tab and Slide Master, and instead of working on the title slide, I'm going to go down to the next one, which is the one that I had just inserted, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight this top line, and I'm going to go to the Home tab just to change the font, and I'm going to use Impact, and it now shows up in my recently used fonts, and I'll also make it 36. And now this down here, I'll zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. That's probably okay for zooming right now. And I'm going to highlight, all of these happen to be Franklin Gothic, so I'm going to highlight all of them and just change them to Arial, because I want to use Arial instead of Franklin Gothic for that kind of sans serif font. Also for this one here, I'm going to make this one quite a bit bigger. It's about 16. I'm going to make it 24 and make sure it is bold. I'm going to leave it bold, and maybe I'll change the color of it. I'll use that kind of like blue color that's used in the rest of the slide. Now these levels here, these are bulleted lists, and you might say, why are they going on an angle like that? These are basically set up by levels so that if you're doing like an outline or a bullet list, it has like sub-list and other sub-lists inside it. And that's okay. What I'm going to do with this first one is I'm going to make it 18 point, and I'll make it bold. And if I have a list of bulleted items, they'd basically, if I just hit return, they would just kind of look like that. Okay, so now it's back to their levels that are showing here. Now, this first level is kind of a bullet. If I wanted this next level as a number, I could highlight this third level here, and I could go into this numbered list. Now, it's not kind of lined up nicely. So to do that, if I wanted to line up nicely under here, under my second level, I could highlight it and use these to adjust. This is the first one is basically where the number would be. Now maybe I want it indented even more, or maybe I want it right on where the S is. So whatever you want to do, I'll move that over so they're about there's about a quarter inch distance, and that's my third level. These I'm not even going to worry about right now, my fourth and fifth level. I'm just going to do it like that. So that's all I need to do right now. If I want to see how it looks, I could get out of my Slide Master by clicking on the Slide Master tab, hit Close Master View, and now when I insert a slide, my next one, you can see it's using this type. So I'll type in some things here. I'll pause and type in a couple things. Okay, I'm back. I'll finish up here, Office Applications. I'll hit Return, and I actually want to type Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Now if I hit Return, it's going to keep it in that same style. So there's Word, and I actually want it in that next level. Now that's easy enough to fix. Just highlight this and click on Increase Indent. That'll move it to the next level. And then I'll type these three things. And then when I hit Return, they'll stay in this bulleted list. So if I hit Return again, I'll be able to type in Excel and PowerPoint. Okay, and then I may want another heading that says Graphics Applications. Okay, now I want this to be in the blue like Office Applications. It's another heading. So I can decrease indent right here. And that's this one, and that puts it in that kind of main heading. And then if I hit Return, I'm going to type Illustrator. We're going to do the Creative Suite applications, Illustrator, Photoshop. Okay, and again, it's showing up in the blue. I can increase indent, and now it's showing in that bulleted list. Okay, now that I look at it, I think I would like these indented a little more. Now, I could do this here, or I could go back to View, Slide Master, and I could change my second level. Basically here I could click my cursor, and I could kind of move this over. Maybe I'll move it over maybe where the other one was. Maybe I'll move it over to about a quarter inch, and I'll have this about a quarter inch away. These things can be a little tricky to move. And that'll be my second level. And then my third I'm going to change. I'll highlight my third level, and I'll just move this bottom one just out a little bit, and I'll move this top one over to line up with the S in second level. Then I'll move this one back. And once you get the hang of moving these around, they're not that bad. But again, I'm keeping them about a quarter inch away from each other. And now, when I close Master View, you can see it updated so that these are now indented. And if I did any others here, if I did PowerPoint or whatever, and I wanted to put a numbered list, I can just increase indent. I wouldn't hit numbered, I just increase indent, and then I would have a list here that would be numbered underneath, and you can see that it's indented a little more. But I don't want those right now, so I'm going to delete them. And that's basically changing my slide master and changing and kind of customizing my fonts for that. Alright, one other thing I'll do before I break here is if I wanted to change the color a little bit for my master theme that I'm working on, or for the slide master for my particular theme, and then I'll show you how to customize it as well. I'm going to go back to View, go back to Slide Master, and again, this is where I change the fonts and the colors. I'm also going to go up here to Colors, and you can see I can change the colors for the whole presentation itself, but I'm going to keep it on angles for right now. And then what I'll do is I'll just go back and I'll go create new theme colors. And the reason I'm doing this is because these are all the theme colors, and it's hard to find exactly what they are, but if I wanted to change this orange, I know pretty much that it's that orange there, and it's also using it for these bullets. I'm going to change this and just kind of use more of like a gold color. And I'll just hit save. And notice it'll update all the slide masters that use that color. Now, I'm going to close my master view. Okay, and you can see it's based on this. I'm going to go to the Design tab. Now it's using kind of a custom theme so far because I'm out of the angles that I was in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this theme, because it's called this presentation, but I'm going to save it so that it's kind of permanent. It'll be permanent when I open up PowerPoint. I could also delete it or edit it at any point, but I'm going to go Save Current Theme and just give it a name. I'll just call it the other one was called Angles. I'll just call this Angles Custom RH with my initials, and just hit save. And you can see there it is in the list. This one just says the one I'm working on, but I'm going to click on that and use the custom one I have now. And you can see if I click down here, it's now under this custom area, so I could create my own custom themes in here. And I'll close this up, or just click off of it. Now just remember, going into the master slide rather than using these things kind of allows us to change the font size, allows us to change if it's going to be bold or not, where these things do not do. These are just combinations that, if you've ever messed with these up here, these just kind of adjust the combinations, you know, Cambrian, Calibri, or Arial, and Times, things like that. But by getting into the Slide Master, under View, Slide Master, that's where you can really set up the way this is going to look. So if you're putting together some lengthy PowerPoints, or you want them to look really nice, take the time to set up your masters ahead of time so that all your slides are fairly consistent.